Hi world, it's Keely and I'm back for another video. This is going to be the start to my Connecticut reading vacation vlog. I decided that I do want to try to vlog our trip to Connecticut because I really enjoy going back and watching the vlogs that I make to like remember when we go on vacation and stuff. I did it for one of our Disney trips and I had such a fun time. And so I figured I would vlog this. It is Thursday. Tonight, well, right now, my husband is working. He comes home from work, I drop him off at his tattoo appointment, and then I need to take our dog Zoe to Philly to our friend's house because he is incredible and we trained Zoe with him and his dogs for months and months years ago so that she is comfortable being with him and his dogs because my dog is a rescue and she is super reactive. And as she's gotten older, it's gotten a lot better. She trusts our friend and his dogs. And so it's been great. He's been wonderful. We always make our vacation schedule around his schedule because thankfully he has agreed to continue to watch her. So that's what I'm doing for the rest of today. Well, that's like the plan for the rest of today. Then other things I've been doing all day long. I have been reading and doing chores. That's basically it. I've just been doing chores because something that my husband's family like really ingrained into my brain. My family never did this, but we also rarely went on vacation. But his family, his mom made a big deal every time they would go on vacation that before you leave the house, even for like an overnight, you clean the house. Not necessarily like a deep scrub, but you change the sheets, you make the bed, you do all the dishes, you do a quick vacuum, like that kind of stuff. So that when you come home from vacation, you're coming home to a clean, comfortable space instead of one where you have a list of chores waiting for you right before you're getting ready to go back to work and life sucks. So that's what I've been doing all day. The dishwasher is running. I washed all the other pots and pans by hand. I washed the espresso maker bits and bobs. I vacuumed upstairs. I've been doing laundry all morning, gathering trash and recycling to take out. And I just finished editing and am currently uploading my Friday video, which is where I'm talking about books I'm currently reading and going through the books I might take with on vacation. We're going to be gone for a long weekend and it's 5 days total, but we're traveling the first day and then traveling the second day or the fifth day. So it's 3 full days in Connecticut with the other 2 also including some travel. That gives lots of opportunities for reading. What I want to do now is go upstairs and grab a tote bag from my office and pull together the books that I know we are taking with. Now, my husband is only reading 1 book because he's a rational human. I am reading lots of books, so I do need to make sure I grab these. He is currently reading Old Man's War by John Scalzi. This is my copy. I read this one years ago. I used to run a book club at an old job that I had where we read popular books and discussed the representations of age in them. And this was a really fun one to do for that. And I've been pushing him to read John Scalzi for years. And so he just read Starter Villain and he really enjoyed it. And so I was like, how about this one? So now he's reading this one. So I need to take that. And then the one that I'm also reading is this one, which is The Haunting of Alma Fielding by Kate Summerscale. Every Sunday, my husband and I make coffee, or we stop and get coffee, and we take it to a local park that has a lake, and we sit and we read at the lake for like an hour or 2. And I mean, as long as the weather is not pouring, but even days when it's pouring, we'll just sit in the car watching the lake and read at the park. So I need to bring these 2. Started grabbing all the stuff that I need for Zoe, who is currently on the couch. Can you see her? There she is. That's stuff that we have to donate. She's currently on the couch just hanging out. It's very cold. But I also try to not like grab all of her stuff all at once because she'll know something's up. And I don't want to stress her out before I need to. Let me go upstairs and grab the other books. I finished 1 book this morning, which was Save Us Korax Deals with the Dead by KJ Parker. Really, really enjoyed it. I don't think I'm gonna finish the trilogy because I feel like the first one ended on a good note where it was just like a full story. Maybe in the future I'll want to pick up like the 2nd and 3rd book, but they're really just like snippets of Savis's life. And I thought the first story was like really well finished, so I don't really want to continue on. But because it was so fun, it makes me really want to read The Lives of Locke Lamora finally by Scott Lynch, which is a book I bought this year. I brought this downstairs so I can start reading it once I'm done some chores. But now we're gonna go upstairs and I am going to get a tote bag. I'm sure it's loud in my house because the dishwasher's going and the dryer's going and the washer's going. But let's grab a tote bag. I keep my tote bags on the back of my thing. I have this one. Let's take the Mothman bag. All of my tote bags are black, of course. So I'm gonna take the Mothman bag. Let me figure out where to put you down. That's gonna have to work for now because I don't have a taller tripod. So you're on a tripod on my work desk. I need to bring, oh, I never showed you. This is what I got when we went to the Ren Fair. Sorry, the window's right there. It's a little Mothman artwork and he's holding a little mug. I thought it was super cute. I have lots of Mothman stuff, if you couldn't tell from also my tote bag, which is Mothman, and I have a Mothman tattoo. Anyway, I need to bring my reading journal, and let me grab a pen. I use these Micron pens for it because that feels like what you're supposed to use with reading journals. So I will grab this and put this in the tote bag. And then in terms of books, so I'm going to be bringing this one, which is a Book of Witches. And I think in terms of library books, this is the only one I'm gonna bring. I was thinking about bringing some other ones from the library. I mean, I literally just posted a video where I talked about that, but I am only gonna bring that one. And then I'm also going to bring this one, which is that folk horror anthology, so I can read tales from there. And then also I'm gonna bring The Cloisters by Katie Hayes, which is about tarot cards. They fit really nice. Now, I need to charge my Kindle because it dropped to 30% last night. It would be fine for a couple days, but I think I'm gonna charge it. I think I'm also gonna throw Interview with a Vampire in my bag, and then maybe I'll grab Lives of Locke Lamora if I get like far enough into it, and that'll have to be it because I'm also going book shopping in Connecticut. Here is my tote bag full of books for me to take on vacation. And then I need to get out our suitcases and I need to start putting together all of the toiletries and shit that we have to take. We're leaving tomorrow morning. We're dropping our dog off tonight just so that tomorrow my friend doesn't have to worry about like what time he goes to work or like leaving his door unlocked or any of that shit. So we're dropping our dog off tonight, but we're not getting on the road until tomorrow morning because we're staying in an Airbnb that we've stayed in before and we loved it, but we can't check in until 3 p.m. So we're gonna get on the road at like 10 tomorrow, I think. Hi, Sally. We're gonna get on the road around 10 and we're going to swing by a small town on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania for my husband to drop off his boots to get resold. We're gonna do that, and then we're going to swing by Dunkin' Donuts because we started this trend where every year when we go to Connecticut, we swing by Dunkin' Donuts first and we get iced coffee and donut holes. So I'm gonna do that. I'm really hoping I can get the Halloween bucket this year. I don't think they've had it in other years, at least not that I've noticed, but that would be really cool if I could get that. So what I need to do now is get out the suitcases, fold some of the laundry that's done, switch shit from the washer to the dryer, and then just continue getting chores done, and then have another reading session until later this afternoon when my husband is home and I have to get on the road for a couple errands. Fuck, I have to go to CVS too. I have to pick up a prescription that I need starting tonight. I'll figure it out. This is the worst possible setup, but whatever. Y'all, I just got home. I left at 3:30 to take my dog to our friend's house who lives in Philadelphia. And it normally takes like 45 minutes because if you live on the East Coast, you know that 95 is the main highway north-south. It's typically like, okay, we just go over, get on 95, go right into the city. Oh my fuck. Initially, I left at 3:30. I was like, oh, you're gonna be there at 4:40. And I was like, that's insane, but fine. 4:40 rolls around. I'm still not there. There was construction and then a car accident and then people pulled over and just like the regular traffic of going into the city at 5 o'clock, basically anytime between like 2:30 and 7 Just don't even try. So I finally dropped my dog off. By the way, we're like 20 minutes out from my friend's house and my dog got sick all over the back seat. And then because she was stressed, she walked around in it. And thankfully we had a seat cover. But I ended up just throwing it away because it was like, it's going to be too much work to try to clean this freaking thing when we're about to leave to go on vacation. So I dropped her off, just got a text that she finally ate dinner at our friend's house. Thankfully, she was very, very upset. It normally takes her like 2 seconds to calm down once we drop her off. But this time she was just like so out of it. And normally like I don't feed her before we go in the car because she hates car rides, has always hated them. And she used to get really, really sick. So we just stopped feeding her within like an hour or two of putting her in the car. So she hadn't eaten since breakfast and she still got sick. So I know that she just doesn't feel good and she's just stressed out because we haven't left her really in a long time now. But she is at our friend's house. She finally ate dinner. She's doing okay. It is, what time is it? Almost 7 o'clock and I'm finally home. I dropped her off. We spent maybe 5-10 minutes talking and then I got right back on the freaking highway and it was just as bad coming out of the city as it was going in. I swung by Wawa, which is a gas station / convenience store. They also have like they prepare food area. If you have never been on the East Coast and have never seen a Wawa, that's what it is. I got their pumpkin cheesecake or pumpkin pie spice cheesecake milkshake and it's so good. I did some reading earlier. I'm still doing laundry. I'm finally finishing up laundry. But I did some reading earlier. I decided instead of picking up Lives of Locke Lamora, like in the time that I picked up the book to show you, did some laundry and some other chores, and came back downstairs to pick up Lives of Locke Lamora, I changed my mind and I wanted to read this one instead. I started finally The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I am 40 pages into it. I'm up to the next chapter. Each chapter is a different time in the Catholic, I'm assuming Catholic Church. There's, at least for the monastery in the 1300s, there are different times, like different terms for different times. So like, I'm gonna butcher all these, but like terce is 9 a.m. Prime is around 7:30 a.m. There's an author's note saying that like, these are the times based on like historically. So I'm up to the chapter text, which is noon. It says, noon in a monastery where the monks did not work in the fields. It was also the hour of the midday meal in winter. So we are following Adzo, who is a monk, I'm assuming, and also William. And William is who is training Adzo on like monk things. If you've read this book, I'm so sorry, I'm probably completely butchering it, but they just showed up at a monastery that has like a giant library, and they were approached, William was approached, and this is all from the perspective of Adzo, and William was approached by someone like high up, and he said basically like, we had a really suspicious death, I need you to investigate it, but you're not allowed in the room where this person was last potentially seen because of like secret shit that you're not supposed to know about. So I'm gonna need you to use your patterns of deduction and figure out what happened to this person. They're basically, it's gonna be over the span, the book is taking place over the span of a couple days, basically just documenting their investigation and all of the creepy stuff that's happening. Really enjoying it so far. But I also then I thought I was going to be home hours ago. So I went upstairs and I also grabbed The Impusium by Olga Tokarczuk, which is a health resort horror story. And I just really, really wanted to pick this one up. So I decided I am going to take that one with me on vacation because initially I didn't think I was going to. I'm going to now. And then this is how my brain works. Because I was in the car for so long, that's really the only time I listen to podcasts. I listen primarily to You're Dead to Me, which is a BBC4 comedy history podcast. And I listened to all of the episode on Alexandria, and the historian that they had recently wrote a book about Alexandria that apparently is very, very good. So now I want to buy this book about Alexandria and read about it. That's kind of how it works. I thought about like documenting where I get the ideas for the books that I want about, like, you know, oh, listen to a podcast, so that made me want this book. Watch this video, that made me want this book. But that seems like too much work because my brain is kind of wishy-washy when it comes to books, where I'm just like instantly like, someone says, oh, you should read this, and I'm like, I should buy it. But now I'm just watching YouTube videos, finished up eating a little bit of dinner, and I'm waiting. My husband's tattoo appointment has been going since 3:30. I dropped him off and then took Zoe to our friend's house, and he should be wrapping up soon. And then I'm gonna go pick him up and come back home and get a shower and just decompress. Thankfully, I did all of my packing basically earlier, so I'm just gonna help my husband get all of his stuff together, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna have a lazy, calm morning and then get on the road, because I think it's gonna take about 4-ish hours for us to get up to Connecticut to where we're going. I don't know which one of us will be driving, but I will try to get some B-roll of driving. It's not that exciting, but I just wanted to rant, update you on how my night went, and I will be doing more reading tonight. I don't know if I want to read more of The Warden before I fall asleep or keep reading The Terror, because I own The Warden as an ebook, but I got The Terror from the library, so I feel like I should really prioritize The Terror because I'm only like 16% of the way through and I have less than 2 weeks to read it. So I need to like really hurry up and get that one done. So I will probably read more of The Terror tonight, and then I will hopefully have time to come back and update you guys tomorrow. I will definitely update you once we're in Connecticut, but hopefully there will be like something along the way. It is now Saturday morning. Hopefully you can hear me because there's a very big open room at the Airbnb and it is echoey as all hell. My husband is getting a shower. We're kind of just getting ready for the day. It is 7:30 in the morning. I've been awake for a little while, but I wanted to update you guys on my reading. Yesterday, we got to the Airbnb around 4 o'clock. We would have been here at 3, but we stopped in New Haven at Pepe's Pizza, which had a huge line out the door. And then I went up front and I asked someone in line, I was like, is this the line to like eat in or to just order a pizza? And she was like, oh, if you just want to order a pizza and leave, you can just go in. And I was like, we stood in line for 10 minutes until thought to ask someone because we didn't know what the line was for. We went in, ordered the pizza. It's delicious, so great. We've never had New Haven pizza before, like style of pizza. It's like kind of thin crust. It was coal fired, so it's got like darker bits to it, really sweet sauce, super good. We ended up eating a lot of it in the car because we had like an hour to go from New Haven to get to the Airbnb. So we got here last night, we hung out, we read for a while, watched some Bob's Burgers, and then I ran out to a coffee shop. We're like 10 minutes from Rhode Island, which is crazy. So I went to a coffee shop in Westerly, Rhode Island called Junk and Java, It's super cute, so we're gonna go together, because I went by myself yesterday, but we're gonna go together one of these mornings and get some coffee there. But I only got a hot chocolate because it was late, and then I got a chocolate chip muffin and a pistachio muffin, pistachio for my husband, that we can eat for breakfast one of these mornings if we want to. And then I realized I was 7 minutes from a bookstore, so of course I went to a bookstore. It was called Martin House Books, and it was super cute. So I ran in there to look around, and I ended up only getting one book, but it was like perfect timing. I got The 7 Wonders of the Ancient World, An Extraordinary New Journey Through History's Greatest Treasures by Bethany Hughes. Thursday night, while I was driving to drop my dog off at our friend's house, I listened to 2 episodes of the You're Dead to Me podcast, and one was on Empress Matilda and the other one was on Alexandria. And at the end of the Alexandria podcast, they mentioned the Great Lighthouse of Alexandria as being one of the 7 wonders of the world. And I realized, like, I would not be able to name you the 7 wonders of the world. So as we were driving up yesterday to Connecticut, we listened to a couple more episodes of the podcast. And we listened to the one on Edo, Japan, and that one was really good. But I told my husband, like, I would not be able to name the 7 wonders of the world. And then, of course, he named them, and I was like, oh, aren't you great? But so that's why when I was at the bookstore, I was like, well, I have to get this because I literally just said that I can't name them. So I really want to read that. So I got this one. I haven't started it yet because I got home and we ordered tacos and nachos from a place up here that was really good for dinner. We have a ton of pizza left over and some nachos, but I did get more reading done. So I sat last night and I started the Impusium, and I read to there. It's the first 2 chapters. I'm up to page 45. I'm really enjoying it so far. This is my first story from this author. She's got a Nobel Prize, so I definitely want to read more of her stuff because I am really enjoying the writing. It's translated from Polish, I believe, and this is about a guy in 1913 that has tuberculosis, and he's going to stay at a health resort for people that have tuberculosis, like up in the mountains, and something is going wrong. So far we've been introduced to him and a couple of the doctors, and I think potentially one other patient. He's at the health resort. He's already feeling a little bit better now that he's like warm, and they gave him a hot broth and he can breathe the like mountain air. But then the narrator will pull back and explain it so that we're not reading from the main character's perspective. We're reading from someone watching him, and then it'll be like there's like a little section at the end of each chapter that's like from the perspective of like us as outsiders watching him, knowing that something else is watching him. So I don't know what's happening yet because obviously I'm not very far into it. This is a horror novel, but I'm really enjoying it. So I will be reading more of that today. I didn't show you the amazing bookmark I got with my book yesterday. I got this one. I love these bookmarks. They just remind me so much of being a kid. So I have an octopus one, and now I have this one with dinosaurs on it. I just thought it was dope. I started this one yesterday, The Book of Witches, that I brought from the library, and I have read a poem and one story. Let me get the table of contents out, and I'm reading a second story right now. I read Seed of Power, which was a poem by Linda Addison, and then I read the first short story, which is What I Remember of Oresha Moondragon Defshratta by P. Djeli Clark. And that was one of the ones that I definitely wanted to get to because I love P. Djeli Clark, so I enjoyed that one a lot. Now I'm reading Met Swallow by Cassandra Caw. I have read a book by Cassandra Caw before. It's like Blackness of Teeth or something. I don't remember, Only Blackened Teeth, maybe something like that. And I really enjoyed that. That's why I wanted to read the Cassandra Caw one. So what I'm doing is I'm just reading a short story and then going back to the table of contents to find like the next author that I recognize that I want to read from. And then I'll go back and try to read some of the authors I've never heard from. Other than that, I also read a lot on my Kindle last night because trying to sleep in a new place, I always struggle, so I was awake a lot last night. But I read more of The Terror. This is how little I knew about that book going into it. Didn't know it was based on a true story. didn't know that. When I was looking through episodes of the You're Dead to Me podcast to download for our trip, I came across one that was called like Arctic Exploration. And I was like, oh shit, I would love to listen to that because I'm reading this book. And then as I was reading it, reading the description, I realized that that episode of the podcast is about the Terror. So the Terror is about the men on these ships, and it wasn't the Arctic Circle. They were going to look for the Northwest Passage, and many people had looked for it before, but something went horribly wrong. So it's two ships, the Terror and the Erebus, and then the men on those ships. And I don't know how much, I don't really know anything about the actual story. So once I'm done reading the horror novel version, I will listen to the podcast episode to get the full, what actually happened. Yeah, that was really cool to find out that it's actually based on a true story. I thought it was just a fun horror expedition, ice and snow story, but it's not. We have reservations for brunch at the Shipwright's Daughter, which is in downtown Mystic, which is 5 minutes down the street. So we're gonna do brunch there, and then we're gonna walk around the little shops for downtown Mystic. And then tonight we have tickets for a haunted house. And then I really want to go to the Book Barn. I'm going to the Book Barn at some point in Niantic. I don't know how you pronounce it, Connecticut. I'm gonna take my husband and also want to take him to the Stonington Cemetery. So we're actually staying in Stonington, which is right outside Mystic. And the Stonington Cemetery is incredible. It's if you appreciate cemetery sculptures and architecture and stuff, it's incredible. I'll try to I took pictures last time that I was there, so maybe I'll just insert some of the pictures. You can see these really incredible tributes to people, because I don't really want to record in a cemetery. I'm very uncomfortable with recording. I have some B-roll, and my husband was filming because I drove yesterday, so my husband got some B-roll footage for me from his phone. So if the quality is drastically different, it's because he has a newer phone than I do. Yeah, I just get really uncomfortable trying to film. So any of the clips that I have, if there's anyone around, I'm just really quickly pull my phone up, hit record, quick span, put my phone back down. And even yesterday, walking through downtown Westerly, I was coming up, you can probably see right at the end of the clip, I'm walking towards the bookstore, pan my phone up, there is a mural for Westerly on the left, and then a dude comes around the corner, and I quick put my phone down. Literally, as I put my phone down, he went, "Hi." And I was like, no. First of all, don't talk to me. Second of all, damn it, don't acknowledge that I was filming and being weird. It is later in the day on Saturday. We went to brunch this morning and it was amazing. And then we walked up and down local, downtown Mystic, and did some shopping. Got some candy from a chocolate place, got a Mystic long sleeve shirt and a hoodie, or no, not a hoodie, a beanie, but the beanie is in the house. And then came home to the Airbnb. Now I am going to go to Niantic. I don't know how people pronounce it in Connecticut. I'm gonna go to the Book Barn, which I've seen on other YouTubers' channels, but I obviously have never been to because I don't live in Connecticut. But I'm very excited. It's gonna be a half-hour drive, so I'm just gonna put on a podcast and head to the Book Barn.
thought that was a donut place.
We are now home. It is actually Thursday. We got home on Tuesday evening and then just hung out all day yesterday. Today my husband is back at work, so I figured I would finally wrap up this Connecticut reading vlog slash vacation vlog. I ended up going to, I think, 5 different bookstores in Connecticut, if that is right. I think that's right. So I figured I would talk you guys through everything that we ended up getting while we were in Connecticut that is like book related, kind of, and the reading that I did. So when we were in Connecticut, I read, let me move my bookmark so you can see, I read over half of the Impusium, but I have not finished it yet, so I need to finish this one. And then I also read a bunch from this one, which is Haunted Connecticut. We went to, let me summarize our trip. Every fall for the last couple years, we've gone to Connecticut. The first year we went to Mystic, Connecticut. The second year, I honestly can't remember the name of the town that we went to. It was not Mystic, it was somewhere else, and it was fine, it was cute, we had a fun time, but it just wasn't the same vibe as Mystic. So this year when we were going back, we're like, let's just go to Mystic again. We stayed in the same Airbnb that we stayed in the first time. The host is incredible, it's a super cute location, we really, really loved it. And we had a list of things that we wanted to do, and we did all of them with the exception of like one maybe. We did like an additional thing. We went to a haunted house, which was a lot of fun. We went to Dark Manor Haunted House in Baltic, Connecticut, which was super cute. It's literally just like you're driving through a small town, and then on the right hand side, depending on which way you come in, on the right hand side, it's just like a dude directing traffic into a little like field, very, very small. And then you can't even really see it. You see that there's like people in line, but you can't really see what it's for. And it was a haunted house that is basically completely outside, but it is like a maze. And my one criticism of it was that it was very, very tight. It is not like ADA accessible. Wheelchair would not fit through. I don't even think a walker would fit through, honestly. There were a lot of roots because it's outside. There were areas where like you go into the next section and it's just like plywood and metal, and like you think like, oh, if you push through, they have like a bunch of shit hanging down, you think like, oh, if you push through you can push it. No, you'll hit like plywood. So I had to constantly tell him, like, I would like tap on something and be like, this is hard, like be careful of your head. Like stuff like that. Other than that though, it was very fun, very like stereotypical small town haunted house. We absolutely loved it. Ends with a guy with a chainsaw, like just perfect little environment. We loved it so much. So we did that. We went out to eat a bunch. We had New Haven pizza, finally. We had tacos and nachos. We finally had seafood. All the times that we'd gone up to Connecticut, we never got seafood while we were there. We had a bomb-ass time. We came home on Tuesday, so we drove up on Friday, and it's about a 4-hour drive, and then we came home on Tuesday. We picked up our dog. She is currently napping right next to me because it is super cold today, which is lovely. It's also pouring. She hates being cold and she hates the rain, so she's not having a good time. I just had to take her out for a walk and she was not happy about it. But we picked up our dog, we came home. Now we've just been kind of like relaxing. Yesterday I did all the laundry and just been getting a bunch of reading done. Let's go through all of the bookstores though. I mentioned at different points the different bookstores, but I thought I would like actually wrap them all up here. The first bookstore that I stopped at was in Westerly, Rhode Island. We went into Westerly, Rhode Island a bunch of times. If you're ever in that area, Junk and Java is an incredible coffee shop. We went there, I think 4 times, and each time got something different. The hot chocolate was fine. I mean, it's a coffee shop, so it's gonna be pretty standard hot chocolate. But they have something right now seasonally called the Cardamom Cardigan, which was like cardamom, white chocolate, cinnamon, coffee. So, so good. And then my husband got it was a banana matcha, but it tasted straight up like banana nut bread. It was the best thing we've ever had from a coffee shop. It 100% tasted like banana nut bread. So we went there many times, and then around the corner from there is downtown Westerly, and there was a bookshop in there called Martin Head Books. And I went there the first night and I picked up this book, which is The 7 Wonders of the Ancient World, An Extraordinary New Journey Through History's Greatest Treasures by Bettany Hughes. And then, let me see, we went back to Martin House Books. I took my husband with the second time because I took a video of it. I should have like clips somehow throughout here of everything that we did. Went to Martin House Books. This is what the logo looks like. And the second time when I went with my husband, I was like, well, I'm gonna get a book again. So I got Did You Hear Mammy Died by Seamus O'Reilly, which is a memoir set in Ireland, and it is about Seamus O'Reilly's life and his mother dying when he was very young. I've heard very, very good things, and I decided that I would grab that one. So that's everything that I got from Martin Head Books. One day we went to the Old Mystic Villages. So if you have ever been to Pennsylvania, to southeastern Pennsylvania, there is a place called Peddler's Village, and we're obsessed with it. We go multiple times a year. It's so cute, especially at Christmas time. It's wonderful. It's basically like an outdoor shopping center, not like outlets, much cuter than that. It's all like little boutiques and shit and restaurants, and it was built in Pennsylvania, and we were literally just reading up about all of this. I don't remember. It's been there for a while in Pennsylvania. Well, the people that created the Old Mystic Villages up in Connecticut visited Peddler's Village and loved it and wanted to recreate their version up in Connecticut. So every time that we go to Connecticut, we go to this version of Peddler's Village. In there, they have some stores that are similar or like identical to Peddler's Village down here, but they have a shop up there called Alice's Little Haunted Bookshop, and it's super cute. We really, really love it. It's all just like horror and gothic and spooky books, and so I got 3 books from there. That's where I got this Haunted Connecticut book by Sherry Farnsworth, Ghosts and Strange Phenomena of the Constitution State. Every time we go to Connecticut, I get some version of these kinds of books, and so I have a stack on my shelf of like witches in Connecticut, the most haunted house in Connecticut, just like compilation books like this of like spooky shit. So I grabbed this one. Then I grabbed this one, which I have seen before, but I didn't realize it was nonfiction. This one is All the Living and the Dead by Haley Campbell. This is From Embalmers to Executioners, an exploration of the people who have made death their life's work. I have a ton of these books on my shelf. I have all the Caitlin Doty books, of course. Ask a Mortician, one of my favorite YouTube channels. I have her 3 books. Her next book that's coming out is supposed to be about the Titanic. Very excited for that one, but I don't know when that one will come out. I have other ones that are from morticians and forensic scientists and people that work in the death industry. So I figured this would be a good one to pick up to add to that collection, especially because it's got a quote on the front from Caitlin Doty that she really enjoyed it. So I thought this would be a fun one to grab. And then I grabbed this one, which is another Deborah Bloom. So I have a couple, at least one Deborah Bloom book, and this one is The Poison Squad, One Chemist's Single-Minded Crusade for Food Safety at the Turn of the 20th Century. So this one is all about a chemist who Dr. Harvey Washington Wiley was chief chemist of the United States Department of Agriculture in the 1880s. And he, I guess, started pushing for health and safety when it comes to food. Not necessarily a history that I would have picked up on my own if I didn't have this particular context. The context being my husband is a chemist, his best friend is a chemist, and so anything that has to do with like history of chemistry I find really interesting, and then so does my husband, and so I like talking to him about it. Reading books like this that are written for like lay people very much helps me because my brain does not do well with like the hard sciences. So as much as I enjoy, you know, when I get stuff right when doing math, like I've done calculus, I took calculus and all of that stuff, I struggle with those. My husband and his best friend, on the other hand, math, physics, chemistry, all of that shit, they're really good at it. And I'm very much on the like soft sciences, so psychology, social work, those kinds of things. So I do really enjoy having these kinds of books as a jumping off point for me to be able to talk to my husband about like his work and what he does, because like we've been together for, oh Christ, almost 17 years. Over the years, I mean, we went to college together, we went to grad school together, we've helped each other with all of our jobs and stuff, so it's like I recognize a lot of the words. I'm like, ooh, that's a chemistry word, but that's kind of the extent of my knowledge of chemistry, so that's why I got that book. Those are the books that I got from Alice's Haunted Little Bookshop. I also then one day went to the Book Barn, which I know I took video of and talked about the books that I got in the car, and I thought the book barn was fun. I thought it was really neat. I only went to the one like main location. They have I think 2 or 3 other locations, but I only went to the main one and walked around, went in all of the buildings. I loved the history section of the basement of the main barn, which was kind of confusing to find. So there's a sign in one of the buildings that says like, hey, medieval and Middle Ages books are in the basement of the main barn. So you go up to the main barn and there's a giant sign with an arrow that says basement, like pointing down, but then no other signs. And I was like looking everywhere like, where the frick is this basement? Turns out you have to go back around that sign, out the door, down the stairs, around the corner, and then there's the basement. So just know that. But I loved that room. It was massive. It had a ton of history books. I was talking to my husband, it had a whole section in Latin, which I thought was really cool. I've never seen a used bookstore, at least none that I've been to in Pennsylvania, that had books in Latin, which was really incredible. I was at that point completely overstimulated and ready to go home, so I didn't sit down and like look at any of those books, but I kind of wish I would have. I grabbed a couple books from that area. The first one that I grabbed was the book of the City of Ladies. So this is going to go in my collection with the Book of Marjorie Kemp, and then I will work my way through these books over the years. Very excited to have more work from women that were alive in the 13 and 1400s. I just think that's super cool that we have any of their work that survived, like any writing, but especially from women. So I'm gonna add that one there. Then I grabbed this one, which is Necropolis, London and It's Dead by Catherine Arnold, with a quote on the front from Peter Ackroyd. And Peter Ackroyd is a very prolific historian and author. And so I thought that would be good because I also then found a book by Peter Ackroyd about the same topic. So this is The Secret History Beneath the Streets, London Under. He's written a couple books like this. I know he's written a huge book about London, like above ground, but I wanted to read his book about below ground. I'm very excited that I have both of these. And then the final book that I got from there is this one, which is Ghostly Tales, Spine-Chilling Stories of the Victorian Age. And this is from Chronicle Books. This book was like brand new condition and I got it for $6, which is pretty incredible. I've read it already. I sat down the day that I got it and read the first couple stories, and then when we came home yesterday, I finished it up. Then we went to the last like day, we went to 2 bookstores. The one bookstore that we went to was also on the way to Mystic from Stonington, which is that little like in between town. And it's very like just on this little street. Like there's a little section of shops, and it's very like nondescript, hidden in there, called Bank Square Books, and it is deceptively huge in there. Like it's just like a little strip mall, and you don't realize how deep the building actually is. So I walked in and it was like, oh shit. I am so overwhelmed. We were literally like on our way out and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to this bookstore because I want to go to this bookstore. And I did some damage. I got a handful of smaller books that I'm very excited for. I got The Factory by Hiroko Oyamada, which I have heard of, but haven't read anything from this author, so I thought that it would be a good one to start with. This one is about the factory, which was drawn from her experiences working as a temp for an automaker's subsidiary, and this is the English language debut. It's translated by David Boyd, and it follows 3 workers at a sprawling industrial factory. Then I grabbed this one, which is The Woman Dies by Ayako Matsuda. This is a Europa edition, which I don't have any, so that's really cool. And the cashier gave me so many bookmarks. In like every book she put a bookmark, so I'm just gonna leave it in there. This one is a collection of 52 short stories and brilliantly inventive works of flash fiction. The Woman Dies takes as its subject the many varieties of discrimination entrenched within Japanese society, particularly the long, stubborn roots of sexism. I thought that this one would be really interesting to read as well. I have a growing collection of work from Japanese authors, so these will get added to those. Then I grabbed this one, which I have never seen in any bookstores that I've been in, so I was super excited to find it. This one is Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Ingalls, and I first heard about this on Jen Campbell's channel, and this one is really weird. This one, it says, in the quiet suburbs while Dorothy is doing chores and waiting for her husband to come home from work, not in the least anticipating romance, she hears a strange radio announcement about a monster who has just escaped from the Institute for Oceanographic Research. And it says reviewers have compared Mrs. Caliban to King Kong, Edgar Allan Poe's story, Beauty and the Beast, Wizard of Oz, B horror movies, and the fairy tales of Angela Carter. I've just heard that it's really weird and really good. So very excited to have that one. And I grabbed this one, which I've never heard of, but I love the cover of it. This is Visions and Temptations by Harold, oh boy, Yotman? I'm not sure how to say that because it's translated from Dutch. And this one is set in the 11th century in the Bavarian city of Regensburg. The mystic Othlo of Saint Emmeram is in the care of his brother monks. Having all his life spurned carnal desire and earthly temptations, Othlo now lies in an unadorned room on his deathbed. But as he suffers such Spartan confines, Othlo is visited by the grandest visions. He travels to the city of heaven, where he frolics with holy Dionysus in the garden of head bearers. Each carries his own head for eternity. He sees the island of, oh boy, Asphodogolus, and from there descends to a brothel patronized by fallen angels who endlessly spawn nightmarish offsprings, and accompanied to the pits of hell by a three-hoofed lamb, Othlo sees the damned, a dragon, and all manner of monstrosities. And this is, it says, an absurdist masterpiece, and it's the final book in the trilogy about humanity's drive to conquer nature. So super excited. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure you can read this on its own. I don't think you need to have read the other ones. And then the final one I got, y'all, I'm scared for this one. This one is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This one has been very, very popular and has been on a lot of people's best books of 2025 list already. Like as they talk about it in their wrap-ups, they're like, this is going to be one of the best books. I am stressed about this book, but I'm trying really hard to like read things slightly out of my comfort zone because I don't want to not read like critically acclaimed books just because they make me uncomfortable. To an extent. I still have boundaries, but I'm gonna try with this one. So this one is deep underground. 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Watched over by guards, the women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only a vague recollection of their lives before. As the burn of electric light merges day into night and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. Soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above ground. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried this one's gonna make my anxiety really bad. These are the books that I got from Bag Square Books. And then as you are, like when you first walk in, there's a lot, but directly to the left is a section of queer literature, like a little free library of queer books. And when you go up to check out, there's a bin of books that are wrapped in like flyers that the bookstore gets about upcoming books from publishers, and they are all like blind date with a book. But the big sign says free blind date with a book. We just ask that you, if you have money, donate to our fund to buy books for the queer little free library. And I was like, obviously gonna do that. So I picked up all of the books. Basically, I started there reading all of them, and the cashier was like, isn't this a great idea? And I was like, I'm obsessed. And I picked one that was world history, and then it had like a genre and then the first line of every book. And I decided to go with world history because I thought that that would be probably the one that would make the most sense for a book that I want to read right now because I'm really into history again. And I got this one. I'm pretty sure that they're all ARCs, advanced readers copies, which you're not supposed to sell, but bookstores get them a lot. So I love that this is how they're getting those books to people. So I got this one, which I'm so excited about because I had no idea this one was coming out. This is The Far Edges of the Known World, Life Beyond the Borders of Ancient Civilizations by Owen Reese. So this one just came out in September of this year. I read the introduction, and this one is a new nonfiction from this historian who is writing about the ancient world, but specifically the border cities. And in the beginning, like the introduction, he talks about how, you know, when we think of like ancient cities or whatever, we think like Greeks, we think Romans, we think whatever, but all of the knowledge that is like widely available about those surrounding areas around Greece and all of them are from the perspective of Greeks and Romans and the people living in these big cities, and they hated outsiders. So it's not an accurate representation of what life was actually like. So I'm very, very intrigued because I'm going to be reading about places I've never really read about before. So the first section is called Prehistory, and we're looking at Kenya, Sudan, and Israel. The second section is the Greek world, looking at Ukraine, Egypt, and France. The third section is the Roman world, looking at Hadrian's Wall in England, Morocco, and then Egypt. And then the fourth section is Beyond the Classical World, looking again at Ukraine, but also Pakistan, Vietnam, and then Ethiopia and Eritrea. Very, very excited to read about all those areas because I have not read about any of them. So yeah, I am super stoked that I was able to get an arc of this one to read. And now, of course, because I have a copy, I'm seeing it recommended on my Amazon for like, hey, new history books you might like. So these are all the books that I got from that bookstore. We went to one final bookstore. As we were driving home, we decided to stop in New Haven. So on the way up, we stopped in New Haven and we went to is it Pepe's Pizza? It has a much longer title than that, but it is a pizza place that has been around for 100 years in New Haven, and they do New Haven style pizza, which we'd never had before. We're very much used to like New York style pizza because that's typically what they have in all of the pizza places near us. We're right outside Philadelphia. So on the way home, we wanted to stop in New Haven again, but this time we went to Yale and just kind of walked around the like side streets of Yale. We were talking about Yale campus feels very much like a mixture of Washington, D.C. and UPenn campus in Philadelphia. So I went to grad school, I went to UPenn, and because it's like really old for Pennsylvania, it is like has a specific style of building and the campus feels a specific way as you're walking around. I don't really know how to describe it, but that's very much what Yale felt like, but also mixed with like a city, but not a big city, like not a tall city. So that's why I say reminds me of DC, because DC is not a very tall city. It's a sprawling city, but it's not tall. It doesn't have skyscrapers the way that like New York and Philly and Los Angeles have. So walking through just this little side street and then driving through New Haven, like Yale area to get back on the highway was just like, we couldn't get a feel for this area. Like it felt very weird, but my husband wanted to go to a clothing store there and it just happened to be around the corner from a used and rare bookstore. So of course I had to stop in. Went to Gray Matter Books, which was wonderful. And I only got 2 books from there. I got this one, which is I, Claudius by Robert Graves. And then this one, super happy that I found this one. So this is an Oxford World Classic and it's classical literary criticism. I have not read very much literary criticism. I've read very minimal amounts of it because I wish that I had been reading it in like an environment where I could study it with other people so I have a better understanding of it. But I did some research again the last week or so about like, I don't want to go back to school for an English degree, but English literature is something that I really enjoy studying and it's something that I want to continue to learn more about. So what are things that people in graduate college courses, you know, whatever, are learning about? And I found a Reddit thread, gotta love a Reddit thread, that came through where English literature professors were basically saying like, yeah, you can read all of the great classics that everyone knows about. You can read some lesser known classics. Like you should be doing that. You should be reading things that challenge you and that you also really enjoy. They all across the board basically said, read literary criticism. And I was like, okay, cool, I got you. So then I started doing research on literary criticism and who to read for that. But when I came across this one, I thought this one would be an interesting one to read through. We had a great time. I got some reading done, but I didn't really finish any books while we were there, even though I took like 17 books with me. But I just wanted to come on and kind of document our super fun time, show you all of the books I got. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.